started a new job and was in holiday before. So when I came back, I started my new job, which required me to adjust to the schedule a little bit. So I kind of lost track on when to film because, yeah, it was an intense 2 weeks of getting to know my new environment and the job and everything. So, but I'm back for you guys, and I hopefully figured out a schedule that is going to allow me to film more videos despite me working full time now. So, without further ado, I bring to you something that you guys really seemed to love, which are true Appalachian horror stories from Reddit. Yes. So let's hop into today's stories, shall we? The first story is called True Appalachian Horror Story. So, this all happened 2 years ago. I was on a trip to the Appalachian Mountains with my BSF. Not sure what this means, maybe they meant BFF. And it was my first time there, but my friend was pretty familiar with the area. You hear all sorts of stories about how scary it is, and all the urban legends, and you don't think it will happen to you. Well, I was wrong. Everyone knows the basic rules of the forest, or at least my friend taught me. For example, if you hear your name called, don't respond. Don't scream back to any noises you hear. Anyway, me and my friend were hiking on a trail and decided to set up camp in a remote area. We had a fire and prepared hot dogs and s'mores. We were having a really fun time, but got tired, and we decided to go to our own tents. I had been asleep for a couple of hours, but in the middle of the night I woke up to a sound. It sounded like my friend was calling my name. I was about to reply, but then I remembered the rules. But low-key thought I was going crazy and delusional. I was getting scared because the sound sounded like it was coming right outside my tent. That's when I heard weird rustling against the tent, like right on it, on the fabric, and my friend's voice echoed, asking if she could come inside. But I was getting hella weird vibes and stood still, and I just didn't say anything. I stayed completely still and tried to fall back asleep so it would go away, because that wasn't my friend, but I was shaking and crying from fear, and just completely still in fear. I eventually fell asleep because I was so exhausted, and asked my friend about it in the morning, and she had no idea what I was talking about. She said she didn't go to my tent. This story still actually confuses the shit out of me and sends shivers down my spine. If anyone knows who this entity is who was pretending to be my friend, please tell me and share your experience, because I don't know who or what that was, but it genuinely still haunts me to this day. Sounds like a mimic to me. Well, this story is very unsettling. It's like your typical campsite horror story where, like, it could be your friend, but then you ask them in the morning and they don't know what you're talking about, so it was definitely not their friend. What do you guys think what it could have been? Was it just our friend sleepwalking? Or was it an entity? If it was an entity, was it a mimic? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. let's move on. Let's move on to story number 2. Scary figures seen in Sammamish, Washington. Don't judge me for the way I pronounced that, and let me know if I said it wrong. This is completely true. It's been years, and my siblings and I still bring it up. I've searched these things up several times, and I have yet to hear any similar stories. When I was about 11, 8 years ago, my family and I lived in Sammamish. We lived in a secluded area with about 3 neighbors that were also secluded. We had just gotten our trampoline, which we used frequently at all hours of the day. One evening, my older sister, 12 to 13, my younger brother, 8 to 9, and I were jumping on the trampoline when I heard my brother let out a shriek. Suddenly, 3 cloaked and rather short figures came out of the woods towards the trampoline. My siblings and I immediately ran out and up to our house. We were very freaked out and tried to tell our parents what happened, but when they looked outside in our backyard, nothing was there. These figures kind of remind me now of some sort of cryptid. I did not see any faces, and they were all around the same height, which was short, maybe around 8 to 5 feet. I still remember this incident very vividly, and there seems to be no explanation. Any thoughts of what that we might have seen? Or does anyone have any similar stories? We moved out of Washington about 2 years later, and the area where we lived is no longer secluded. There are more houses and apartments, so the woods are pretty much non-existent over there. We had also experienced a couple of weird things while living there. I mean, this story also, it's hard for me to say whether it's scary or not, because I feel like a lot of details are missing to maybe fully understand what they saw. But cloaked figures, I have never heard of any cryptid or anything like it. Maybe you guys know better what it could be and can teach me why I should be frightened at the sight of 8 to 5 feet tall hooded figures. Maybe you know what it is and I'm wrong, so put it in the comments, please. Moving on to the last story, which is fairly longer. This one sounds promising to be really blood-curdling, scary. So let's see, shall we? It is called Never Go Camping with Skinwalkers, because yeah, why would you want to do that? I was 16 when this all happened, but I still remember that night like it was yesterday. I was going on a camping trip with my best friend out to Blind Frog Ranch. For the weekend, we planned to go hunting that night, hoping we'd catch whatever we could find. We arrived around sundown to a large clearing next to the lake. It was still light outside, so at least we didn't have to set up camp in the dark. After we had set up camp, we set out to go catch ourselves something to eat, not far from our campsite, but far enough that whatever was around couldn't see us from the campfire light. We were just about to head back after catching a few rabbits and a 10-point buck when we heard something far off in the distance that sounded like a cross between a human and some sort of animal that had been caught in a snare, which was impossible because neither one of us had set up any traps. I looked over at my friend, wondering if he had heard it too, or if I was just losing my sanity from being out so late and having barely any sleep the night prior. But the look on his face told me that it wasn't my imagination after all. But even then, we brushed it off as just an injured animal that was about to become lunch for another. But as we got closer to the campsite, we heard the sound again, this time closer, and the smell of rotten flesh and sewage caught my attention, making me gagged and my eyes watered while my friend became sick and emptied the contents of his stomach into the grass next to a thick based oak tree. What really creeped me out, though, was the fact that if an animal had just died to another nearly 5 minutes ago. What really creeped me out, though, was the fact that if an animal had just died to another nearly 5 minutes ago, then why did it smell like it had been dead for weeks? And then I heard it. Something calling my name in an old, broken, monotone, almost robotic voice. At this point, I didn't think twice before dropping the hole and raising my gun at the sound. But when I did, I heard the tone change into something that was almost impossible. I heard my best friend calling my name from the woods when he was standing right next to me. We just left the holes and ran back towards the campsite and put on the fire before diving into our shared tent with both our guns at the ready. Whatever was out there, it wasn't an animal, or human for that matter, but something far worse, something that wasn't ever supposed to be seen with human eyes. I quickly grabbed my phone and dialed 911 by putting it on speaker. Even though we didn't have service, I bought one of those Wi-Fi hotspots you could get at the library in case there was an emergency and we needed to use our cells. As I was on the phone with the operator, I heard that whatever it was say my name again, but this time it sounded like it was right behind the tent. Oh my god, I got shivers all over my body. Okay, composure. And it even sounded like it was saying my name in my own voice. And when it did, I realized I knew exactly what it was, but I was too afraid to say it out loud. My attention got drawn back to the operator on the other line. I heard them say that they would get the park ranger out there as soon as they could, since we were only 100 yards out on the main road, but I kept my mouth shut, hoping that if we stayed quiet enough, it would wander back to where the hell it had came from, until we heard it sniffing around our campsite. Oh my god. And that god-awful stench filtered from the right ear. We sat there frozen in place as we watched the zipper to the tent flap slowly draw open, while whatever it was started groaning like me whenever I had a bad hangover from whenever I went out drinking with the guys. And then we saw it, an extremely pale figure with making it let out a terrifying screech as it galloped away, just as we saw the lights of the cops and the park ranger's ATV coming towards our camp, with spotlights shining at us as we heard the screech ring out again from deeper in the woods. Whatever that thing was, we didn't care. We were just lucky to get out of there alive. Till this day, we haven't been camping in those woods since, because whatever it was still out there, waiting for its next victim, and this time they wouldn't be so lucky. So now this story really gave me the heebie-jeebies, like, oh my god. It's... if this is a true story, which I do not hope, it doesn't disclaim whether it is or not. It's written like it is, but I'm not sure. I found it under this Reddit thread, so if this story is true, I don't know how they had the guts to like not faint and like get out of this situation. It seems almost impossible. This is true. That's why I don't go camping. Honestly, guys, that and other reasons, but this is what I'm trying to avoid. Even though it may not be real, even though maybe none of whatever paranormal things are real, which I don't believe. I believe that they are, but still, I mean, comfortable bed, warm, even though we have a heat wave, so warm, let's skip that, but secure, yeah, I'll stay here. Okay, guys, let me know what you think about this story, in the comments below. It is bone-chilling. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. I'm sorry for being absent for so long, and I hope you can forgive me. Please sit back. Now, I hope you could sit back and relax a little bit, even though the stories are scary, and I hope you can go to sleep, and I'll see you in my next video that I promise won't take 3 weeks to film.